Hey, Lena. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
It's voting day tomorrow.
Yes, I'm like anxiously awaiting. Look out. We might have more than usual today. So there was like 42 people just on the Facebook page that were RSVP'd. So we'll see.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, but you know how that is sometimes. People RSVP and you're just not sure, but we'll see. I'm excited to discuss.
Oh my goodness, I know.
Yeah.
Then I was like, I can't wait. It was like it couldn't come fast enough.
Yes. I'm just gonna give it a couple minutes to let people, just get in here before we get started. What? Hurry up. Little ones.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, Jess.
Hey, Renee. Look, I'm gonna go off video for a couple seconds to finish eating my dinner.
Yeah, you do it. Eat, girl.
I looked at the time and I was like, oh, I'll be done before time. And no. So I'm almost done.
No problem. I'm just giving it a couple minutes for some people to come on, and then I will begin shortly. Welcome. Look, I see some regulars in here, but some new faces to our chats. This is awesome. Some Facebook regulars, I guess I should say. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Like I said, just gonna give it a couple more minutes because there's a bunch of people. Yep, they're still coming in here, so. All right, go. This one trying to sneak Halloween candy behind me back here. Funny. Obsessed. Okay. All right, I think I'm gonna go ahead and get started. As most of y'all know, we're here to discuss Tiffany Jackson's Grown. Got my Grown earrings in today. Hang on, a couple more. Kilo, let me add these people in here. These lovely ladies. There they are. Okay. So yes, again, discussing Grown by Tiffany Jackson. Awesome read for me. I'm sure heavy and triggering for many. Opened my eyes to a lot of things. And I just want to say that this is being recorded. And actually, hang on a second. I need to go ahead and share this real quick, and it will be put on the YouTube page. So I just want to kind of give y'all the heads up that if you're going to share anything, that it is being recorded and it will be put on our Facebook page as well as social media. Give me a second. What'd you say?
I can't cuss.
Oh, you can cuss. I'll be cursing. So yeah, please feel free.
All day,
just if you want to share anything personal or any stories that you have, just keep in mind that, you know, I mean, I'm an open book. I share whatever, y'all know that. But I just want to kind of give y'all that warning so that you have the freedom to share as you please or not. Give me a second. I forgot to share this to our Facebook pages so that people can watch it from there. And then it's like the internet is moving slow today. Let's see. Okay. I'll add a group to promote. There we go. Okay. And live. All right. Okay. I think I've got that down. Sorry, y'all. It's usually the first thing I do when I come in here. So many people are coming in. I just hitting buttons. Done. Okay. So now, all right, that's shared. Okay. So let me just check the waiting room and make sure. Yep, there's more people coming in. Okay. Told y'all, there's a lot of people in here tonight. More than usual. This is a hot topic, and it was such a good book. Okay, so I do want to share this video that was kind of a promo video for the book that I'm going to share first, and then we'll dive right in. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. Second. Mute yourselves if you can, if you're not muted yet. And I'll
Sorry.
That's okay. You're
kind
fine.
of sitting there, so I washed it out.
The summer before my sophomore year of high school. And he was 22.
Uh-oh, sorry.
Just after my 16th birthday, I met a guy. He was 21. When I was 17, I dated a guy who was 22.
I was 17, 21. We met at the bowling alley.
I'm this 15-year-old with braces and stick thin, and there's this guy who really wants to talk to me.
He told me that I wasn't like other girls my age, that I wasn't like other girls, period.
But he knew what he was doing, and he knew better.
He knew better.
He knew better. I wanted to really talk about that, particularly with this book. Especially, I wanted to highlight how girls can be manipulated, particularly by grown men. It doesn't matter if I thought I was grown, thought I was super mature. At the end of the day, he was the real adult. He knew better.
All right. So I felt like that was an interesting video to kind of tie us in there and get this going. Let me close. Okay, so overall thoughts of the book. For me, it was a definite 5-star read.
Same here. In that video, that's the first time I saw that, but that is a very I was date raped. I was 16. He was 21.
Oh, wow.
I say date rape because I know who he was. I didn't call myself dating him because 21. But yeah, I don't.
Yeah, sure. Hit home.
But I don't even like to count that time.
Uh-huh.
Not really.
Yeah.
But yes, but that just those ages triggered that, like 16, 21. Like, what is that? So that was coming back to me reading that, and then that video.
And for me, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that you would figure, because I was fairly young too when I was involved with somebody in their 20s, and you would think you're the only one, but watching that video, realizing there's so many other women, Black women that's gone through that. I don't know, I got chills watching that. I saw it before, but like watching it again, I definitely got chills from it.
So I guess the realization that so many other people have gone through situations like that. It's not something that I've like even really thought about. I mean, I dated someone older in high school. Now, technically they were still in high school with me, but they were a grade behind or 2 behind. So it was like, it didn't really click to me that this person was, you know, that there was that much of a gap because they were still in high school. But it was never something that I discussed with my friends, you know, dating an older guy or just anything like that. I don't know. Found it interesting. It was a lot of, I mean, have you guys seen the R. Kelly Survivor documentary?
I did not watch
Yeah.
it.
I refuse to watch it.
Yeah, it's a tough, hold on, more people I need to admit in here. It's a tough one. Eye-opening. It's for me, you know, I'm looking at it from a parent's perspective and also from the child's perspective, and how, you know, when someone has power and money, man, what people will do, and how they're able to manipulate people and convince them to do things. I mean, just like in my right mind, I could never think of me allowing my child, my son or my daughter, to go with some stranger and trust that this random stranger is going to be their adult and just watch them. Like, I don't know. I can't ever see myself being in a place where I would just let them go and be out there like that.
But then think about, things from a parent perspective, right? I was thinking like, wow, that's crazy. But then I was thinking of other scenarios, like we have, what went on with the Boy Scouts, and you have soccer. And I'm thinking like,
That's true.
football camp, I've done like, okay, soccer, like, I don't really know this coach. I mean, you don't really know the coach either, like,
Right.
but we do have scenarios where we're like, okay, like, oh, the team, you're going over their house to do this, or the team's going here and there. Then now we're finding out, okay, Boy Scouts, but
Yeah, that's
like,
very
geez,
true.
what's going on?
And I mean, even
Yeah.
it could even be a family member at that. You know what I'm saying?
True.
So you're right, it
Yeah.
could be someone that's in your circle that you trust, or you're supposed to trust, and not even think twice about letting your kids spend time with them. But I don't know, the whole traveling and
Yeah.
going off with this 28-year-old man like that, to me, is like, wait a minute, now I got some time in the bank. I'll take a couple months off to travel with you.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm letting you go by yourself and trust in that Jessica, who I
Right.
just
I was
irked
glad
me.
to, when we heard the father,
Yeah.
like, okay, they
Right.
are attempted, like they're
Yeah.
making all this, it's just getting shot down.
Mhm.
Like they are really trying and involving the police and everything.
I guess because my perspective, because I worked in child welfare for years, I kind of felt like I understand where the book was going, but some of the things didn't make it just didn't make sense to me. It didn't hold true to me, I guess, so to speak. As like, as far as when the police come in, when they were in Atlanta, and he was like, oh, well, Atlanta age of consent is 17. And I'm like, no, you've crossed state lines. She's still a minor. What do you mean it's not kidnapping? So I feel like there were like a lot of little mistakes from just my experience working with trafficking and so forth. But yeah.
So let me ask with that, since you've been in it, that was written in a time that was back. Does that like crossing lines and trafficking is like really big now, but was that back then? Wasn't that written kind of like I felt like that was in my era. Like, I mean, I'm not.
And see, I thought
old,
she was
but
saying,
was it back then as well?
I thought that
trafficking wasn't big when I was growing. We didn't hear it like my daughter, like they talk about it now.
Same.
So I don't know where the laws, I'm asking, so were the laws back then like that? Like they're really big now because that's a big thing that we're all aware of now.
Oh, okay. As far as like, I'm referencing as
the
far
book
as
was written in now. I mean, they all had cell phones and were texting. So
Yeah, they were listening to Beyonce.
I might be mixing up a book. When she wasn't talking about Right On and stuff like that then, right? That was
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? I read her other book right after that. I'm sorry. I'm mixing up. Let me hear you rhyme or something. Sorry.
Yeah.
This book, like, I think is a very important subject to talk about amongst young people, and I think it would be great for young girls to read the book. But when I was reading the book, of course you want to shake people and this and that, but I don't know, I kind of felt like, I don't know, I think that it was one of the things just didn't make sense to me. I was really rooting for her parents, and just from my experience working in it, R. Kelly in that situation, I didn't watch it because I just don't like to watch things like that. So I didn't watch it. So I don't know all the girls' ages and whatnot. But in this particular situation, I was just kind of like, that ain't right what this book is saying. But I just hate how you talked about the manipulation and how he just was able to manipulate her to the point where she just had this whole ideal of what was going on, and he was saving her family from him. And then when she because he had her cell phone, so then when she brings up her sister, her best friend Gab, how just the manipulation of how everything goes. And then like a lot of people don't know the grooming and the taking away from the family, like, well, when I want to reach out, I really can't because I've gone so long without talking to people, and all those little steps that go into getting a young girl in that situation.
But you have to consider that grooming happens with grown women. and abusive
Yes, it does.
relationships. You
Yes,
have
it
grown
does.
women that get isolated from their friends and family, that get told things that aren't true. So imagine, you know, her being young and even more impressionable, you know, definitely you can see how that happens because you see grown women, you know, subject to that same thing.
Right.
I
Especially
like
Well, right. And she was young and starstruck.
right.
So I mean, I done kind of been hooked on some non-star type dudes, but you think 17-year-old, you know, a 17-year-old that is, you know, even if because I thought a lot about the R. Kelly saga reading this book, but you think about it, these young girls were starstruck. That's R. Kelly. He's got all these hits, like R.
And he's
Kelly has some
promising them
bangers,
something.
like it turns my stomach now to hear him. But you know, you think he chose me, and you're a kid, so you don't see, you know, he's giving her alcohol at the hotel when she's way too young to drink, and telling her she's beautiful and she never felt beautiful. Yeah.
But I think a lot of people forget about Celine Dion and how the difference was between her and Renee.
I thought about it.
And that's the one that I always find that nobody ever mentions.
What about
and a lot of times
Mariah too. Yeah.
when you're young, people don't realize that that's something that they do to you.
And speaking of Celine, to this day, and Celine, she's damn near 50, if not 50.
She's 50.
She, to this day, it seems like I saw a interview or what have you. You know, she talks about how she was 18, so we don't know if there was any indiscretions before 18. But like to this day, that man has been dead almost 10 years now, and she talks like she won't even. I don't think she's even tried to start dating anyone yet. That's like all she knows.
I know this story is compared a lot to R. Kelly, but when I was reading it, I was thinking of the Harvey Weinstein, all those women that came out in Hollywood and how he manipulated them and had them sign contracts and they couldn't talk about this and that. That was one of the things that I noticed in this book.
What I liked about it, go ahead, Renee.
No, I was just gonna say, I just finished reading Mariah Carey's book a couple weeks ago, and hers similar with Tommy, like the manipulation. And I mean, she was older, but still like the age gap, and he was able to manipulate her and kind of some similar things where he controlled her life. A big deal.
And I don't know if it's manipulation, but Marcus Houston just married someone that's half his age.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
She's like close to 40 and she's like 19 or something.
Okay,
we can
assume,
let's
assume manipulation. Because what do you have in common with somebody half your age? That's just, let's assume manipulation right now.
Like Renee, like I heard you say, Renee, they also are with the Starstruck thing, promising them. She was like, well, if she can just get her album, like, let's just get her going, she can make her own money. Like, there's something else they're holding on to. So that's all part of the manipulation. But yes. And you know, I remember at one point she said,
I also thought about
like her mom's gonna be mad at her. Her mom's gonna be like so upset with her.
Right.
That's how
the whole
thing works.
Yeah. I also thought about how.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was saying thinking about her getting the album. I also thought about how those women said that Bill Cosby did the same thing to them. Like he promised to make them stars and put them in roles and get them acting gigs and all that. So it goes on a lot, not just in music, but just all around entertainment. There's a lot of that going on. It's not as publicized.
Yeah, I've seen it even in high school. Some of the girls bragging about their boyfriend is in their 20s. I think I knew someone that was 15 that was dating a 25-year-old.
Wow.
One, my dad is crazy. With this, like, what can that's
that was dating a student?
I just didn't get out. It's like it's
very it's very common. I went to Western High School in Baltimore, which was all girls. And so there's a reputation of, fashion and these pretty girls and majority Black. And it was, as adults, we talk about it later. There was always a line of cars outside the school waiting to pick up girls after school. And if we're 14, 15, you got to be at least this age to drive and at least this age to be able to pick somebody up at 3 o'clock because you should be at school or work yourself. So, and it was such a, it was such a norm that there was this line of cars out front of the school that was not parents, that was grown men picking up girls from school. And it was so common that it was so normal. It appeared normal to us. And then, we've had conversations later, 25 years later, like, wow, this was not okay. These were predators. This was not, an okay thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What did you guys think of the structure of the book? Because I thought the beginning started out really good. It was smooth. And then it got like all over the place. And then I was like, cussing, like, what the fuck, Tiffany, slow down. Like, why are we going here, then going here, and then, wait, is that a memory? Hold on.
I felt that way about the friend, Gabrielle.
Yeah, like that really threw me off. I was like, wait.
Crazy.
Right.
Yeah, Gabrielle threw me off too, Gabriella. Because I was thinking back to Monday's Not Coming, and I was like, is she about to do this fake friend?
Me too.
What is
Monday's
going
Not
on?
Coming.
That back and forth, that was always in the back of my mind because Monday's Not Coming. It was like the damn last chapter before I realized.
I haven't heard her talk about it, but I felt like she did that in Monday's Not Coming to make you feel like the friend felt. Like, what is going on? I really felt like that was a technique. And so I wonder if that might have been like, maybe we were supposed to feel like we were on lean with all the back and forth.
Nobody in the school, nobody remembered her at all. The sister never saw her. That just seemed unrealistic.
Right. Like you hang out with this person all this time and nobody has any recollection of, who this girl is.
Yeah, but you guys forget most people's friends. It's not like when we were growing up and everybody comes over your house and everybody's on the phone. So you don't have that saying that everybody knows who everybody is. So I thought that part was
not even the Mean Girls. The Mean Girls would know who the girl was because they would have been making fun of them.
But they were calling her by her government name, not by her nickname.
I just think.
But what didn't make sense is they said that she was in a class with her, and she said I only went by Gabby with her. But if you were in class with her, she would have heard the government name. That's what didn't make sense to me.
No, I had a friend named Smiley. We all called her Smiley, but the teachers called her by her other name. But unless you were real close to her, you didn't know her name was Smiley.
But that's not how she wrote it.
Everybody got to have a twist.
So speaking of twist, I was confused about her bringing in the other male characters, like the Derek and the guy that ended up being her manager, because I thought that they were going to end up doing something bad to her too. I was just like, okay, should she trust these people? Why are her parents trusting them?
Yeah, she did a little.
Especially Louise or whatever his name was.
Derek was on her side until she tried to imply his dad.
Yeah. But how do you trust people at this moment? I mean, how are you just, I don't know. Especially when the dad was who he was. Why would you just go over his house?
She was nice.
I remember she was young, so young people do stupid stuff. It's not like an adult doing it.
Yeah, but you had just been through getting addicted to codeine, being locked in a room with a bucket.
I don't even think she knew she was addicted.
Somewhere.
No, I don't think so either. She just kept drinking it.
She didn't know that she was addicted to that.
No. I was thinking that she went to his house because everyone was making her think that she was crazy. Like no one knew who Gabby was, and she was like trying to prove that she did see the dad wearing the watch, and
and her sister blamed her for the stuff that she was going through.
Yeah. Well,
I hated that part.
I had a question about that. I thought we were supposed to believe, like they threw in the grandmother had a mental issue because, okay, now we're, you know, she's leading us to believe this Gabby doesn't exist. But
I thought the grandmother was not living.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I thought that too.
I had to reread
You're
it
gonna
and
have a
say, wait,
mental
is she
illness.
living or not?
did she really make him up on stage then? That part was.
Yeah.
The drummer, when she said he was back there,
Yeah,
I was
when
trying to
she-
figure that out too.
And they were like,
Okay,
so
so
DJ.
was he there or was he not?
No,
Yeah,
I
that's
don't think
what
he
I said.
was.
He really did
There.
make
He was
up.
not there. That was part of her trauma from
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
being held captive, you know, for the most part. So she was just seeing him, like she saw him in the audience, she saw him as the drummer. It was part of that. So that part was not real, but I thought that they were gonna make her out to be like a mental.
Well, that's what I was trying to figure out.
So,
Because of a lot of the things that they thought she was imagining, like it came back like, okay, Gab really is a real person. So I kind of thought maybe she did, because she saw him in the parking lot. He was in the car. He called the hotel. So he was also appearing places for real.
Well, we think, because then they
yeah.
were, no, he had a legit, he really wasn't there.
Yeah, and they checked the security cameras and stuff, and they
Yeah,
said his
so
car wasn't there and everything.
And then call in the room or whatever. Like that was all crazy to me too. Yeah. I don't know.
Monday's not coming. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is
Here we
another
go.
Monday's
that's a good one. Yeah.
Right. The real hero to me was the flight attendant though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did anyone else feel cheated during that scene? Because I wanted to know exactly what happened, how
What went
she got
down?
away, and all that stuff. I'm like, you
I
just
forgot what?
she just appears at home now. I'm like, you cheated us. I wanted to see him get
He's
beat
not,
down.
He's not locked up or anything. He's
Right.
Like, I understand the story had to be told, but it just, I kind of just felt like
she was doing too much.
She didn't do her homework. Like, even if when they were in Atlanta, she had already turned 18, but they made it a point to, when he said, oh, she's 17 and age of consent in Atlanta is 17. So I was just kind of like, I don't know. I just felt like there was just so many gaps with this, and it just could have been, I think I was doing okay with just the situation, but when I tried to start feeling like R. Kelly, I just started feeling like just pretty damn pissed off, because I was like, I really don't want to hear about R. Kelly or have anything that's parallel to R. Kelly. This story was doing great without it starting to feel like R. Kelly and the pissing in the pot and carrying on.
I felt like it took forever for her to turn 18 as well. Like it felt like she should have been 18, and I was waiting for that to happen because I'm like, oh, once she's 18, like it's over. He's got her trapped and whatever, like no talking to her parents. So I was kind of holding on to this window that her parents would come rescue her before her birthday hit. So for me, it just felt like her birthday took forever.
It was a lie, because why are we going through all this? I'm thinking the damn girl been 18 for 6 months, because all of this is, you know, because they said she's a proxy. That's basically a power of attorney. Hey, Renee, I'm going to Spain for 3 weeks. You want to watch my kids?
Right.
As soon as I come back and change my mind and you say I can't have your kids, I'm calling the police. That's kidnapping. I'm ready to get my kids back. You understand what I'm saying? So
Right.
I wasn't understanding. I just wish she would have just been like, okay, she turned 18 and so we could go on that point, because at this point I'm just kind of like, this is not making sense to me.
Yeah, but you have more knowledge than the regular reader. So.
No,
And you gotta remember that the reader is supposed to be the young adult.
I didn't give it a 5 because of the disconnects.
I can't hear you. Say that again.
I said I couldn't give it a 5 either because I saw the disconnects too. And I don't have that background, but
I think Bernadette made a good point that this is a YA book.
Yeah.
And so we're reading it with adult minds, with a little more logical connection. And I think her closing, you know, at the end about, I'm not trying to make this about R. Kelly. I'm making this about believing brown girls and Black girls when they say things. That really tied it all back to me. Was there were holes in things, but she still experienced what she experienced, and she was telling the truth about it. And the power that he had, that allowed some of those things to even happen too. I think was probably a big part of it as well. You know, the police just coming in his mansion and then just leaving. Well, they're not gonna do that if they come over here.
Right.
But you know, celebrities do think all of these names that we've called out before, where time and time again people had said things and it just kind of got brushed away because they were who they were. They could use that power to get out of scenarios that Joe Blow down the street is not going to get out of.
And that circle, to your point, I'm so sorry if y'all see my nails, okay? I was just like boo on Halloween because but anyway, they brought up at one point, like, remember the other girls that were coming out of the woodworks, and people like, yeah, he's kind of like, they knew, but they didn't really say anything. That kind of quiet, like when Bill Cosby came out, it was like, well, yeah, that was kind of like the jokey joke, ha ha. Nobody was surprised at these people coming out. And that's kind of how it was when all these girls were coming out now talking about Corey. Like, well, okay, that's not new to anybody. They kind of get the side eye, they laugh it off, they're scared to get him upset, but nobody was saying anything because of who he was, I guess.
And because they were also getting paid off.
Right. Well, yeah, that's tied to who he was. He had the money to, right. Yeah. Yeah.
To me, it was more Bill Cosby-ish and R. Kelly, you know, intertwined. It wasn't one. But the other thing that I realized is that when the teenagers were all talking, when they were doing Will and Willow, which it irritated me because I grew up Jack and Jill. And I didn't really think that was necessary. You know, that whole tie-in to me was not even necessary. It could have just been the other kids that she knew. But she wasn't really communicating with them either.
Well, I think they did that to show how much of an outsider she is in her current community, because she talks about it in the whole book. So it kind of made Corey's manipulation seem a lot easier. So she's in this totally different community, surrounded by people who consider themselves better than her. Her parents have to struggle to pay tuition. So it just seemed like it made her more vulnerable.
Mm-hmm. She didn't come from money. Yeah.
But my point is that we didn't need the Jack and Jill references. That was all I was saying. Either way, it wasn't necessary. It wasn't adding anything other than they helped her get an attorney.
But then how would she have made the connection with the young boy that she actually met through R. Kelly, the one that the father had something to do with it?
Anyway, I'm just gonna leave it alone.
Yeah. A lot going on.
I had a question about the dad. Like, he was opposed to the whole like going on tour thing. So how did that finally like come about? Did he just bow down to the mom, or like what happened? I think I might have missed something on that part.
I think, and it's funny, I think what happened was, and it's, my mom has said this about her childhood. Do you remember when she was coming back, picked her up from class? I'm not sure it was swim lessons or whatever. And Chanty was like, basically, I didn't have these children. You had these children. And the only reason you're not wanting me to do this is because you need me to watch your children. And I think that's when her mother kind of broke and her mom was like, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, whatever. But I think that's when, because I think up until that point, her mom and her dad were solid. No, you're not going. But when Chanty brought up, like, you had these children, I didn't have these kids, you know, I want to try this, you know, singing thing and I can help with tuition, whatever. I think that was the determining factor that made her mom sway, because up until then, her dad, you're right, her dad was like, no, absolutely not. We're not doing that. And then plus he was going on the union or whatever, and he was going on strike.
Mother's definitely different than mine would have been, because I could have played that card and she'd have been like, and like, you know,
hello,
grown man, like, no.
Wasn't happening. Yeah.
And it's kind of easy for her to kind of manipulate her parents. That whole scenario where she got her mother to take her to that, what do you call it? that contest.
The
And
audition.
I didn't see any repercussions or hear any repercussions from that. So I think she was kind of used to manipulating her mother, and I think the father just went along with whatever.
I think that has that guilt because it sounds like her mom and they were doing a lot and they weighed heavily on her. So I think also their parents' guilt that they had because they know they were putting a lot on a child who really, because the activities, what was it, like school, family, extracurricular, like they really didn't want her to do anything but school and come back and take care of them kids.
Oh, right,
yeah.
Should watch the littles. And she did use that to her advantage. She was like, I'm always watching them, like, let me just do this one thing,
And then Corey tried to sway the parents by introducing them to Uncle Charlie.
Yeah.
And I was saying to myself, well, how old are they? Because who the hell was Uncle Charlie? I was like,
Charlie Wilson.
Charlie Wilson.
Charlie Wilson. Oh my gosh.
But that's how grooming.
I love Uncle Charlie. He still puts on a good show.
Everybody can be groomed. The
And
parents.
that's the crazy part is the part that the bodyguard played because he was standing in the vision in line, blocking the parents so they couldn't see the exchange happening between her and Corey while they're over there talking to Charlie. So it was all kinds of like, the bodyguard really pissed me off because I'm like, he's doing a lot to make this stuff happen for Corey Fields. And so that, really.
And it's not just the music industry. There's been cases with gymnastics teachers, instructors, swim coach, anybody that's isolating the parents from the practice sometimes are taking advantage of the kids.
There's a
And
really
grooming
good
them.
podcast on that doctor from Michigan that with those gymnastics girls and how he groomed them, and these girls were all on this Olympic track, and so it was like this was the doctor that had to see your daughter to make sure that she stayed in optimal shape. That podcast is tough, but it was really good. I can't remember the name of it, but
if you can find
everybody
in the group, please.
Yeah, I will. It was good.
Is it the ESPN one?
It might have been. Let me see if I can find it. Believed was the name of it. I think. Let me look. I'll look while we're talking.
But yeah, I was gonna say everybody has to be complicit in order for it to work. I mean, he's got all these people who's, he's helping put food on their table. Of course, they're gonna go his way.
Did you think about Jessica starting?
That's what I was gonna say, Jessica.
He repeated what was done to him, which is very common.
Yeah.
As well.
Hurt people.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think some of her, I just picked up, I don't know, maybe might not have been right, but she was no longer in the range. So she wasn't an object of attention or affection or whatever anymore. He'd moved on from her, but he was still using her.
Yeah.
So her
manipulate. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
that's what I thought in the beginning. But as it went on, I'm like, okay, well, we saw Enchanted get to the point where she believes her whole family hates her because of what he's been telling her for X amount of months. Jessica's been in this for years.
But Jessica,
so in her eyes, probably
Jessica was older.
But this person.
Jessica was older than Corey. I thought that
he turned him,
was
right?
she?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
But he stuck to girls around that same age that happened to him because he was like 14.
Right. Jessica
so
was
he's stuck in that
basically
that group.
Busted him or raped him.
Right.
The same thing like Michael Jackson being abused as a kid. He stayed that 11-year-old kid.
Just a heads up, my computer has decided that it wants to restart to install some updates. So I'm on my phone. So if something happens, that's what is going on, but I'm going to restart it. But it should be okay because I'm logged on my phone. So we'll see in about 30 seconds. But I just want to let y'all know if you lose me, that's what happens. And I'm about to restart it. If everybody gets knocked off, I'll just restart it immediately. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Sorry, you guys can continue.
Like, let's not wait. Let's see what happens.
Right. It's like 10 seconds now. So I'm on my phone as well on this chat. So we'll see what happens. But it's gonna boot. Well, here it goes. Says I'm about to find out. Nothing.
No. Not yet.
I know. I was like, of all times for my work to like send something through to reboot. All right, well, I'm gonna keep the phone up just in case it does. So at least I'm on somewhere and it doesn't close out. But anyways.
That's a good point, Lena, that I forgot that there was the picture of, but did they fully confirm that she was the one who took him in the room or whatever when he was like 14?
I don't think so.
It did. It said that in the picture he was standing next to her.
Yeah.
But
and
it
was
didn't.
the same party or whatever.
Right.
She just noted in her mind that they were too close, and he had her hand around her waist and stuff like that.
But I had imagined the girl that he messed with was way older than Jessica for some reason. Like I wasn't.
But 21
Unmute
and
your phone,
14,
Renee. There you go.
Still here. She was like 21 and he's 14. That's a 7-year difference.
Yeah. It's a lot going on.
But then that reminded me of that thing with Jada Pinkett and her, what does she call it?
Her entanglement.
Yes, her entanglement.
With August Alsina.
Yeah, that still irritates me. So, because people always look at it from a girl and a boy perspective versus a grown woman and a boy.
That's
and
true.
I can tell you, if I was August's mother, it would have been on and popping.
Yeah.
That's the same thing about a lot of men that don't realize or aren't understanding that they've been, I have an 8-year-old running around, so I'm not going to say the word, but because I know someone who said they were like 12 and the woman.
You guys, Tiffany D. Jackson is asking to be in here, so here she comes.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Where is?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hi.
Oh my gosh. Thanks for stopping by to join us.
I'm sorry, I'm a little late. I'm still working on a book right now.
No, totally fine.
Oh.
But I just wanted to say hi.
Yes, thank you so much. We've thoroughly enjoyed this, enjoyed discussing it. As always, twists and turns. You keep us on our toes. But we've had a great discussion with everything and loved it. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you guys are doing this discussion the night before the apocalypse and stuff, and having this time to yourself too.
Yes.
So,
we need to unwind.
And doing it with wine.
Yes.
Oh, wine, word. Yes, I totally understand. I've just been focused on writing, and I looked at the time. I was like, let me see what these ladies talking about.
We are here talking. Yes. Yeah, we had a great turnout reading this book. You never disappoint. Like, I think I've read most of your books this year, maybe. I just kind of like binged.
Oh no, that's so dope.
Yeah, and I've not. Everyone keeps getting better and better. So
oh, thank you.
I knew as soon as I heard about this one that it had to be a book club pick because you just always keep us on our toes, and it's amazing to I guess for YA it always exceeds my expectations. As an adult reading YA, you just but you always just blow our minds with what you write. So we're appreciative of you.
I feel like I was just having this conversation before of how even though I'm writing YA books, I do feel like it kind of speaks to, sort of our inner kids, right? Because we all have inner children that didn't really get a chance to, address some of the things that I'm addressing, or, we didn't understand it. I mean, I'm a whole ass adult, and there are some things that I'm learning through researching my own books. So, I mean, yeah, I think it's worthy of just sort of understanding our own kind of children, our internal children, our inner child, and also kind of like knowing what like kids are, going through today. So,
and even just reading it for me, like I had to think about myself in high school, and I was like, I actually did date somebody older, not really realizing, because they were a couple of grades behind. So they were in high school, but yet still, so much older than myself. So it was kind of like, I didn't really think about that until today. And I was like, wow,
Yeah, I was just thinking about that too, how like my ex-boyfriend had, because he worked at the school, he had a 23-year-old a 23-year-old who was a sophomore. And
oh wow.
Yeah, right. And he was kind of saying how like, he was trying to give the kids some like, you can't date some of the girls in this school, like like that's inappropriate. And that was hard for him to take. So yeah, in those sort of circumstances where he's mentally in high school, but he's physically not in high school, it's tough calls. Yeah, definitely tough calls there.
I think it was helpful for me too to read it from her perspective, because as I've watched the things in the news, I've been thinking about it with my adult mind, and not having children too. I've been like, there's no way I'm sending my kid, but I think that was very helpful to just read it from her young mindset, and to watch that grooming, and to, you hear about it, you see it, but to read it from her perspective was just made me step back out of my adult self of saying, there's no way this would have happened to me. I can't say that now at 39.
Yeah.
That's one of my takeaways too. I have an 8-year-old daughter, so just knowing the conversations that I've already had and ones that I will be having, especially after reading this book about, dealing with people and your feelings. So I think that was a takeaway for me, something I'll take on with me throughout the rest of her middle school and high school.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That is sort of like that prime kind of age, right? Where you're starting to go into middle school and then high school. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I always think about this, how like there was no one around who really taught us how to date, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we kind of learned through other things. So it's just sort of like, oh, yeah, it would be cool to have like adults, especially like your mother, to have those like real conversations with you and not be like sort of detrimental or in a negative tone, just sort of like kind of giving some expectations.
Because I'm 37 and I have not had the sex talk yet.
Oh, with your mom?
Wow.
Me.
Honestly, I don't think I have either, though, to be honest with you.
Look, there was if Monica's still on, Monica, I see you on. There used to be a drugstore or pharmacy, whatever you want to call it, in Louisiana called K&B. And that was the conversation my mom said, I don't want you to, but if you feel like you have to, there's a K&B on every corner. That was all she said.
Wow.
I had 3 older sisters.
Protect yourself. So. That was all she said.
I got more from my dad, thankfully. My dad was here.
Oh, good.
My dad just said, I don't want boys all over you. And I have guns, which he did. And I know.
It's funny. My older brother's advice when I was going to college, he just said, don't be that girl.
Wow. Yo,
that's a lot of girls.
That's hard.
I knew what he meant. I knew what he meant because I've met one of his girlfriends and the rest I didn't. So I knew he was saying, don't be that girl. But that says
so much. Oh my God. I don't know if I would have said that, but yeah. I'm actually trying to think about what I told my brother, like when he was going to college. Because he had like a girlfriend when he was leaving for college. So I guess I really wasn't thinking it. He was all love. And so I just didn't think that, dating was a thing. And then now he is, grown ass man. And he just moved to LA about a month ago. So it's like my child is like a real adult now. And I'm like, when am I like, he's dating. He was like, oh yeah, my friend slept over. I was like, ew. know. So, and yeah, we haven't figured out. Like, I definitely was that girl in high school who was taking care of a child, a little brother. Yeah, me and Chance had a lot in common, and that I was in Jack and Jill. I had, I was.
Come on, Christine.
Yes, come on, Christine.
I was going to say, as a Jack and Jill alumni, I didn't appreciate that little comment about J&J. If you're going to talk about teen conference, you had to give more info. That's all.
I really tried to balance the criticism and the positives of Jack and Jill, because I was that girl who, like, I came into Jack and Jill really late. I came to Jack and Jill probably like my sophomore year, and my chapter was wild, messy. Like, we were like I didn't know that, and it was really, I was like, what is this? Like, what are we joining? Because we had just moved from Brooklyn, and so my mom wanted me to be in Jack and Jill because she thought, oh, here's all these Black kids, and I was like, I don't know, I don't think this is what we want. And but then what I really loved about it was the fact that we did so much community service. There was so much Blackness. Our Kwanzaa celebrations were like amazing. And there was a lot of just like preparation for like, you know, the next chapter of our life. So whenever people like kind of like say like negative things about Jack and Jill, I'm like, yeah, you have some points here and there. But I definitely feel like, and especially in the book in the end, like they came through for the family, like Jack and Jill usually does. They come through for families. So I will say, I give them that. So yeah, I know.
Okay, that makes me feel better. Just kidding. No, I understand what you mean. I joined when I was 11. So if you're not part of the 4-year-old crew, you kind of get not included on a lot of stuff. So I got that part.
Yeah, my brother, like, he grew up in Jack and Jill, so he's still super friends with all of his friends that he grew up with. And so they're all like tight. They all still like meet up once a year, like around Christmas time. And wow. I don't really, I mean, I have one I kept, and it's definitely a guy. Because the girls were mad messy. I was like, Mom, I'm gonna hang out.
Which is how they were in the book, so that makes sense. Because they were hating, where the guys were trying to give her the benefit of the doubt, and it was like the girls were like, she's this and that, and we're done with her.
Yes, which amazingly enough, they did kind of come through later. It was like, you know, I felt that, or like, you know, they were standing up for her. Even if they didn't like her, they still were standing up for like girls in general. Like the whole like kind of like he knew better was actually said by a Jack and Jill or Will and Willer, because she was like, I don't care, he knew better. Like, and I thought that was really important for kids to see other kids kind of talking this way, and then not be like adults sort of like kind of giving those lessons. It needs to come from like, kids need to know that other kids are actually like on the same wavelength.
Yeah, something they could relate to.
Yeah, in the beginning, Renee showed us the video, and he knew better. And just us here, a lot of us here, that resonated with so much, because we were that 16-year-old or whatever have you. In my case, I was that 16-year-old. The guy was 21, and that's just feels good to hear. However many, I'm 43 now. Years later, that you're not the only one that thinks like, I'm thinking I should have known better. Like, well, I shouldn't have stayed by myself, or I shouldn't have. But yeah, he knew better. Like, he was the 21-year-old. He knew better.
Yeah. Yeah. Like all the planning and scheming and stuff like that. Like, even if you were scheming, like they also were attributing to that. Like, and they could have stopped you. So I always feel like, yeah, you need to sort of put the blame in the right people's hands. Because as kids, we only know so much. And I think that's something, and I was definitely that girl who really thought I knew everything. I still do that. But I've been proven wrong time and time again. So yeah, it's definitely that type of, it's good to know that and it's also good to know that other people have these experiences. Like, that's what I found sort of as we were like marketing this book. Even when the cover came out, everyone was like, yo, that was me. And I wanted a way for other people to share their stories. So yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. Any other questions for Tiffany since she's here?
And not specific to Grown, but I have a question in regards to, I've read all the book. Well, let me say, do you have more than 4? I've read 4.
4.
Oh, okay. So I've read all your books. The Allegedly and Monday's Not Coming, which I read release day all in one day because I could not put it down. Because I was like, where is she? Those twists, and I fell in love because I'm the one that tries to fit the movies, everything. Don't ever watch a movie with me because I'm like, I know what's gonna happen. Like, so I'm like, Mom, like, here's what happened. So, and I don't read covers or anything because I like it to unfold. So I say all that to say those 2 got me. So it was like instant 5-star because like, okay, what I thought I figured out, I didn't. The last 2 they're great. I still 5-starred them. But different than those 2 with the twist. So is that something that you're just getting away from? Are you mixing it up? You know what I mean? Like there was some twist, but it wasn't that like, oh.
It wasn't hard hitting.
Right.
Yeah. I never meant to like kind of like be that writer that all my books are gonna have plot twists in them because I don't even like plan like that.
Okay.
So
was that intentional and then intentionally not?
Yeah, no, it's not like the twists or whatever in Grown was sort of kind of like hinting to the idea of like how people rarely believe Black girls. Like the first thing they say out of their mouth, we're always questioned. And so that really wasn't a twist. It was more just sort of like leaning into the idea of like, you never believe Black girls from the onset. So that wasn't really like an intentional twist. So I felt like it didn't really have twists in it for me. That's why when everyone was like, this book is really rough, I was like, oh, I didn't think it was, well, maybe.
The twist for me was, were we supposed to think she was crazy? Like, was it like, oh, okay, we're supposed to think her grandmother was crazy? Like, so was all this made up? Like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Is this friend, like, so this whole time this friend's not real? Like, that was twisty to me. Because now, I've read the other ones, I'm trying to find the twist. Like, I'm like, okay, she's doing it. Like, we're supposed to think she's crazy. Right? That was a twist to me. So it was like, okay, she does. And then the very end, when it's like, he was alive.
Right.
I realized that too, is that I think everyone's always expecting it. So everyone's reading very intensely, like trying to find out, like, so they don't miss it. They're like, oh, she did it right here. Oh, there's an Easter egg right here. And then like, I'm always like, oh no, just read. It's okay. Just read it. It's fine. But I'm realizing that, yeah, maybe I am kind of like, I'm becoming that person. So I'm trying to sort of reel back a little bit, where there will always be like surprises, because thrillers and mysteries have surprises. But I don't want it to be the point where like everyone's like literally trying to guess, like as they're going along, which
that
is so
could just be me.
No, you're not alone. Like there's been a lot of people who are like, it's here, like so I guess like my next 2 books don't really particularly have like hard hitting like plot twists. They're just like, because they're in the more spooky-ish lane.
Oh wow.
So I guess it doesn't really like, it doesn't have that plot twist, which of course, you know, those first 2 books, like those weren't planned. So I didn't plan to have if you read either Allegedly or Monday's Not Coming, I didn't plan for those plot twists at all when I first started writing it. So they were a surprise to me too.
So good.
Yeah. And even like the ending of Grown, at the very end, when you find out that he actually was alive, that I actually had written it like differently, that he wasn't alive, and that Enchanted had nothing to do with it. And the only reason why I changed it was because when I had like some of my beta readers and blurbers reading it, one of them said, you know, I kind of wish she did it. And I was like, what? And, you know, I took a vote, and I think it was 6 out of 11 wanted her to kill him. And when I then like talked to other victims of similar sort of circumstances, they all kind of said like one of the things about it is like, you never really truly get revenge. Mm-hmm. Like you never get that moment. And as like morbid as that sound, or, you know, deranged as that sound, like a lot of them wish to have that moment, because even in their justice, like the justice is very fleeting. and their dresses doesn't feel satisfying and in a lot of ways. So I kind of did that for them. But yeah, in the original, there was no like last little like tidbit. But I don't know, like I just saw someone just reviewed or someone just threw this comment on my Instagram page saying that the book was unoriginal and something else. And I was just like, okay.
I saw that comment today, or maybe it might have been in the Black Girls Read books too, but they were like, I'm tired of her writing these books about true stories. We know the stories already. Well, I was like, well, don't read the book. Don't read it.
I think someone had commented that in Book Girl Magic, and I was like, well, did you read what the book was about before you read it? Because like, if you had, you know what it's about and what to expect. So it's baffled me that people.
Because I watched, and Renee, I cheated on Book Girl Magic, but I watched your talk the other day on Black Girls Read Books too. But it was on there today for sure. And she was like, I'm just tired of her retelling these stories. These are stories that are already been in the news. And I'm like, then why are you reading the book? I mean,
like there's so many other books out there, and I'm just kind of like, you don't have to read it, girl.
And that's what she said. I think I'm done with her. I'm like, well, I think she's okay with that.
Right. The rest of us will support.
Right.
I'm like, and like I even said it on the thing. I was like, thank you. Feel free to donate your copy. Like I'm not like. I
already got your money.
Like I mean, thanks, but like I'm not mad at you. I mean, people are mad at her, but like I'm not mad at you because I'm like, you don't like it, cool, but like I don't understand why you're telling me.
Right.
Unless it's that was the other thing she said, that she had like it was constructive criticism, and I'm like, I don't think you understand what constructive criticism. So I'm just kind of like I'm just laughing because it's like one of those type of comments where I'm just like. I sus. Like I can't say anything because the one thing I'm not going to do is drag another Black woman like on the internet. So I'm just sort of like, okay, well, donate your copy. I appreciate your dollars. And
everything's not for everybody.
Right.
Yes, there are some books that I read and I'm like, oh, okay. Like, or didn't even finish reading. But I've never I don't know, I've never had the gusto to tell the author who's a whole ass human that I didn't like the book.
Yeah, right. Because at the end of the day, hard work and effort was put into this, so much time. It's like, this is their pride and joy. Who am I to tear somebody down for, it might not be my cup of tea, but you just keep it moving at the end of the day.
We can't treat, and I see people doing it all the time, like a meal. Okay, there's something they can do to correct what they did wrong if you didn't like your food. But this book is done and everybody's not going to like it. And that's okay. I think these screens have given people this, autonomy to just say what I want to say and bash stuff because I don't like it. But if you don't like my picture, don't like my picture. Keep scrolling, unfollow me, do whatever you want to do. But
and don't say constructive criticism if you're not going to provide something constructive.
Right.
But she has an editor for that.
And that I do actually appreciate. I do appreciate where people come back and say like, or they will like kind of like course correct me and say, actually, you may have done this. Or I've even been course corrected about allegedly. There were some things allegedly that people didn't appreciate. And I was like, I'll never do that again. Those are the type of feedbacks that I like from my readers because these are about real people and you guys are real people. So I want to hear that type of feedback. I want to hear that type of like, oh, maybe you shouldn't talk about a woman this way. Boom. Okay. That's helpful for me to hear. And especially since as a person who's been in television for a really long time, I know how to take criticism. Like, that's not the problem. The problem is when you're just kind of like yelling at me and I'm just like, but what am I supposed to do? The book is done. So, but yeah, I appreciate that, guys, and thank you. It's been that's why one of the other reasons why I wanted to jump on is because I was like, look, I know I have a lot of amazing readers who are all super supportive. I rather kind of put my efforts in them, especially in the midst of the apocalypse. So I'm just like, thank you guys so much.
Oh, thank you for coming on. We really appreciate that. And I just have one last question for you before we wrap this up. But when can we expect your next novel?
So hopefully next October. It's called White Smoke, and it's like Get Out meets The Haunting of Hill House.
Wow.
Which is when I'm literally staring at it and I'm trying to finish it.
I think we know what our October read for next
Right.
year
I'm
might
like,
And I'm trying to tell people it's not that scary, because it's really not. It's still kind of like a thriller, like what I've been writing. So it's kind of fun. And then so hopefully next October. I don't know the exact date because everything's been sort of like moving around and stuff, but hopefully there'll be some other fun announcements soon, and then you guys will know.
Yeah, that's exciting. They did a great job promoting this one too. I have my earrings on. I think Keela has her earrings on. Like,
yes,
Epic Reads, they just did such a great job promoting this one.
We need some clip-ons.
Renee, can you read my chat comment? I have music in here, so I'm on mute.
Yes. She said, I'm going to type this because I'm in a cigar lounge with earbuds on, but music is playing in here. Anyways, the book reminded me of R. Kelly, yet it was so different. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The non-constructive criticizing person can read something else. Great job, Tiffany.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I kind of want to be in the bar with you. Like, I'm like,
it's fun. Come join us.
oh, man.
Listen, after tomorrow, I might need to take that chance. I'm just prayers, positive energy, all that sent out, but I'm anxious right now.
I don't want to be the glass half empty kind of girl, but I think either way it goes, we're gonna be in for some interesting months to come.
Yeah.
Period.
Hoping for the best.
Yeah.
Hoping for the best. Yes. The best possible outcome. So
yep.
Tomorrow's my birthday, so I'm trying to stay positive.
Oh, happy birthday, Christine.
Happy birthday.
But I'm having a drink either way.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we will all be having one with you.
Happy birthday. Yeah. And some cake. Have some cake. I'll have some cake for you, so don't worry. It will be good.
Awesome.
All right,
y'all.
Have
Tiffany, you so much. Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Guys, for putting this together.
Thanks. Okay.
Good night.
She's gone. That was awesome.
Gone. Yeah, that was great.
That was
so credit for it, Renee. I'm taking credit.
I know. I was like, Keela, because Keela joined the other chat last week and she messaged her, but I don't know if she ever responded to you or not. But I've been tagged, and I've been tagging her. I tagged her on Twitter. I've been tagging her on all my posts. So my thought was, because she actually followed the Book Girl Magic Instagram page probably 10 minutes prior to this chat. So that kind of was like, okay, maybe she's gonna come on here and make an appearance, but I just didn't know. But sure enough, she came.
We're gonna keep hitting them in the DMs, Caitlin.
Right, look.
You know, Alexa and I go back and forth now.
Right. I was like, what's so funny is most of y'all are the ones that get these authors to come on there, because I'd be so like, I just don't want to inconvenience them. And just, you think they're so busy that they're just not going to have time. And y'all reach out to them and they're like, sure, why not? Whatever. So,
I mean, I think she really takes, like she said, the constructive criticism, she's going to listen to it. But, and her point of that, like the post I saw today in that Black Girl Read book too, it's like, well, have you not picked up yet that that's like the premise of most of her books is
that's what
that
somebody
she takes
said
the story
too.
straight from the head. That's what Law and Order does. Like, what
exactly, and they've been doing Law and Order for
they've been on for 30 years.
They have
posted that
spinoffs.
Yeah, someone posted that in Book or Magic how much they love the book, and a comment was like, and they were like, I don't know, that there was an exchange, but I was like, did you not read what the book was about before you everybody could tell this was basically surviving R. Kelly. Like that was the basis of the book. I was like, did you not figure that out from reading? Like you just purchased the book and just read it without reading? Like
I did, but it didn't bother me. But I did because that's what I do. I
was still excited about it because I wanted to see something about that. Like it fascinated me because it was a world that I hadn't really been exposed to on that level. So I wanted to read something more about it and I did get something out of it. So for me, it was awesome.
And also the role that you can play in situations like that, because even the responses on social media about people like, well, she's just about his trying to get his money, and she shouldn't dress like that. What did she expect? Like, I've contributed in some way to something that's been in the media.
Yeah.
When she said construct, I was messaging the wrong person, by the way. I don't know your name, sis, because it says iPad, but you had brought up the research, like maybe do like more facts or research. So I didn't want to say what you said, but I thought I was messaging the person like, say it. That she can, since she's working on other books, but it sounds like these are going a different way. I don't know if she does her own research, because she made a comment like researching my book, as far as the facts and getting, where she gets them from, or making sure they're accurate for readers in like your case, where you're like, no, I know how this is done and that's not right.
Right.
Awesome chat, ladies. That was awesome. That was an awesome surprise. Awesome way to go out. I'm glad the chat didn't completely shut down on us with all my computer issues. But for those of you, we are reading The Secret Lives of Church Ladies for the month of November, and the author will be on with us. I did ask this time. I did. I messaged her. I tagged her in the initial post announcing, and she was just like, thank you so much. And I was like, we'd love to have you on. And she was like, done deal. So she will be coming on with us. I think it's like December, whatever that first Wednesday is in December. Yeah, she actually posted a cocktail too to go along with another chat. So I'll post that in the group too, so we can have that. But yeah, I'm super excited about this one because I've heard a lot. It's everywhere on Instagram, and I've heard so many great things. And I think it's up for a couple of awards too recently. So yeah.
Tell me the name of it again.
It's called The Secret Lives of Church Ladies. Can you see that?
Y'all, that book right there is something else. I'm telling you.
Look, I grabbed it to take to the hairdresser Saturday, and I only got like 4 or 5 pages in, but I was like, oh, this is exactly. Gonna be good.
Oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Well, she had me at Church Ladies, because there's always drama in the church.
Right, exactly.
And it's so funny because I picked it up because I was like running late or whatever. And when I bring my tablet, my hairdresser's sons take it and play Candy Crush. So I said, well, they can't take a book. So I took a real book. Yeah.
I've read 4 stories so far, and the church is not mentioned everywhere. So don't be disappointed.
Okay.
I don't know if
it's not very churchy at all.
The other 6 stories, but the first 4, they don't mention anything about a church.
Okay. Good to know. I won't be reading it till like the end of November. So yeah.
On time. 189 pages.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, but that 189 pages packs a punch. I promise.
But that's some small font in there too, though. Like. Yeah, I'm excited.
After you chose it for the book of the month, another group showed up for that too. That's why I started reading it already. But it's good so far. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, it had a lot of buzz around it, and I saw a lot of people talking about it on Instagram. So I was like, let me go ahead and add this in there because it's something I really wanted to read, and I thought we would all enjoy it. So I'm excited.
It's short stories. See, I'm like, Jamie, I didn't even read it. You said read it, I start reading it. But it's short stories. I didn't even pay attention to it.
Yeah, short stories. It's like at least 10 of them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the author will be on, I think, looking at my calendar real quick, I think it's, December 2nd, which is back to Wednesday again. Softball should be over by that point. So, December 2nd, and we'll have the author on for that one. So get your questions and thoughts ready.
Renee, what are we on? That's like the 7th. It's almost like every month had the author attend.
I know. 2020 has been a great year for Book Girl Magic, for real. Yeah, I mean, honestly, because we had one last month. I got to go back and look at our books now. I can't even think off the top of my head. We had Alexa Martin.
Right.
Catherine West.
There was somebody for
who else do we have? We had some last year, but I'm trying to think of the book of the month, like what we had this year. We've had Amanda Seals No. Sorry, I'm just quickly going through this.
Seems like, and maybe I'm combining my years, but it seems like it's picking up. Like we've
definitely had at least that's what Tiffany would be 4 this year, 3 or 4.
I think because of COVID, you know, this is a way for them to still promote their books because they're not doing, you know, anything.
Exactly.
Yours. Catherine, Tiffany,
Alexa.
Who else did you say? Alexa. Who was the 4th one?
Then the 4th one will be coming up. I think that'll be the 4th one because I'm thinking of I'm looking at all the books now. So I think.
But I feel like Alexa wasn't the first one, huh?
She
No, I
wasn't.
think that was though, because we had More Than Enough by Elaine. That was January's pick. Then we had Such a Fun Age. And then Sula, obviously Toni Morrison was not coming to that.
I heard that one.
Oh, Toni.
And then Girl, Woman, Other.
Oh, she didn't come. Okay.
And then Intercepted. So yeah, Alexa was the first one in May.
Okay.
I did do the Conjure Woman chat, but that wasn't Book or Magic. So I have had other author hosting.
Maybe that's what we're thinking.
Yeah. So that would be 5 for me this year, including that. Yeah, but we've had a pretty good year, so we'll see. Yeah, anyways, it's been exciting. So I'm excited. Thank y'all for joining. This has been a good turnout.
Thank you.
No problem. And I look forward to seeing y'all again in December.
Y'all stay sane tomorrow.
Yes.
Everybody.
Happy birthday, Christine.
Thank you.
Yes, happy birthday.
Night.
All right,
Good
talk to y'all later.
Night.
Bye.